All right, friends and foes, it's Eric Bugenhagen, a.k.a. Rick Delastic, a.k.a. Dick Delhagen, a.k.a. Delicious Dicks, Daily Delights. Frick. Guys, I'm a little out of practice with these talking videos, you know. I don't know how I want to go about doing this. I'm afraid the Delicious D already may have freaking lowered me on the algorithm again. The freaking YouTube algorithm is driving me insane. Okay? But I'm going to find a way to boost myself back on the algorithm. So we're going to talk about Jeff Nippard because the people want it. Right? And these videos do better for me than anything else. So I figured, why not? You know what? Why not? Let's talk about the horseshoes. Let's talk about it. He's got the best. He's got the worst. He uses the freaking analytical data. But in reality, he really only uses his freaking 3 tools of measurement and circumference. The stretch, the progression, or some horse crap.
The best of the best, and one is the worst of the worst.
All right, what tools, Jeff?
The tricep exercise doesn't end up in F tier. It needs to tick 3 boxes. 1, it must provide high tension, especially in the stretched position. 2, it needs to feel good.
It needs to feel good.
And it has a nice, smooth resistance profile. 3, it needs to have a simple progression.
Okay, I was pretty damn close. But again, guys, you know, and I'm not going to take too much time with this because I've made like an hour and 27-minute videos talking about Jeff's 15-minute videos. And, God! I don't want that to happen in this case. But anyways, I still, every time, it kind of tickles my jimmies when it needs to feel good. I don't understand why an exercise needs to feel good. I'll tell you right now, heavy horse deadlifts, hoisting big bulbous squats, a freaking, you know, the Valsalva maneuver, hoisting of the overhead, extreme high pressure, high blood pressure aneurysm levels of the overhead press. Like, none of that stuff feels good per se, okay? But we all know those exercises are straight cash money. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no doubt about it. Although I do think that Jeff would not put them in the super S tier plus database. But regardless, I feel like on these ones, guys, we're talking about tries. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that complicated. So I feel like this isn't going to be that controversial. Let's find out.
Easily add some weight or a rep from week.
Woo!
As I'm sure you know, there are 3 heads of the triceps.
I'm sucking down that Ricky's rotund raspberry.
The medial head and the long head. The long head beefs up your triceps from the rear.
Oh.
The head gives the triceps that
thick,
shape.
beefy, long head.
Down the middle, adding shape to the arm as a whole. And so,
Okay.
when we're ranking exercises,
Come
we
on,
need to consider
feel the
which
noise.
movements will emphasize which aspect to ensure
Boys,
proportional.
frick!
Let's start with the most
Girls,
popular
rock
triceps.
your boys. Okay, you can't go wrong with this, guys. A classic triceps push down. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I will just say this right now. Whew. What do we got? In my opinion, I mean, listen, I know people are going to be watching this. I don't care. You know, just critique his video. I've done this enough where I know. You guys get bamboozled by my sidetracking. I get on tangents, you know, but that's what I do. It's what makes me who I am. You know what I mean? I can't just sit down and analyze each freaking minutia of his video. Do you get what I'm saying? But we're talking about tries, guys. I'm the freaking try guy, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, cash money, right? Absolute, just freaking bee's knees. Yeah. Bee's knees, okay? What else can we do, all right? I personally, when I do these suckers, guys, let me tell you, I don't even know what we're going to talk about here, but I love a push down, okay? I used to not like the rope because the rope was harder and I felt like I could do more weight with the straight bar per se, or of course you can do even more weight with the wedge, right? But I've grown very fond of the rope because you can, you know, the rope has these 2 legs, right? These 2 legs, and you can spread those suckers, spread the legs, you know what I mean? Especially if you kind of shift your body and you can spread those legs, especially with the long ones, the really long rope. You can spread those suckers. Like, I've never gotten a nastier triceps pump in my life than using the long boys, you know what I'm saying, and spreading those legs, you know what I mean? And when I do this stuff, guys, I horsecock, loads, you know what I'm saying? And I horsecock the loads with benching, with dips, and with overhead press. I go freaking full bananas on those movements, right? So when I do stuff like this, I don't need to horse massive loads. I only use the cable stuff for extreme rep ranges, all right? And we're not even talking about Jeff's opinion. We're done with that. We're talking about this triceps rope push down. Guys, check this out. Again, this isn't straight, freaking, delicious movement, okay? When you take that and you start and you spread the legs, you know what I mean? So you're getting this freaking movement. Oh, yeah. Booyah. And once you kind of run out of the steam to do it, you kind of shift it, right? And you shift it to here. You run out of steam to do it, you shift more, right? And then you stop spreading those legs. You start closing those legs. You know what I'm saying? Use the rope with the two bulbous heads and even push those bulbous heads together so there's not now you got the increased stability so you can push them down more easily. And as you kind of run out of steam on those bad boys, okay, you go back and now you get a little bit of lats in there, a little bit of lats, and you push them down and then you run out of steam there and you kind of just do an isometric straight arm push down. I'm talking straight arm push down. The isometric, fellas, you'll never have a better feeling in your life than a set of 100 doing that, okay? People are gonna say, oh my God, you're just working on endurance. That's not gonna build muscle. Listen, let's talk about freaking some bro science for a second. I've never had a bigger, fatter, rotund triceps pump than what I just talked about right there. I'm so excited I'm already out of breath. My heart's just fluttering, okay? Between that and the Ricky's Rotund Raspberry, my heart is fluttering. Whew. But you want to talk about bro science, okay? Ultimate bro science. That pump is so big, it's stretching out the fascia, right? And that's allowing more room for growth. Now, I don't know if that's proven by science, but that's some bro science I read about like 10 years ago or something. But anyways, I don't even care because I already do the mass horse tonnage with the freaking dumbbell press, the barbell press, the horsecock dips, right? The overhead press. You're getting tons of heavy tricep work in there. But you're saying, oh, but you can isolate it, single joint movement. You can isolate it with so much more tension. Guys, when it comes to the cables and stuff, trying to go heavy, low rep on the cables, unless you're going, this is also a good technique, is full stack, right? Full stack it for as many reps and then just drop set, like a 10 freaking strips, 10 drop set, you know what I'm saying? Full stack for 5, right? 2 clips down for 5, 2 clips down for 5, 2 clips down for 10, 2 clips down for 10, 2 clips down for 20, 2 clips down for 20. Something along those lines. But again, what's the freaking theme here is the ultra high repetitions, because use the free weights, use the big bulbous bulking buffalo free weights for the real peak torque. You know what I'm saying? For that kind of stuff. It's all about, there ain't no good and bad. It's about mixing it up. Back in the day, you said, oh, isolation stuff's a load of horse crap. Just do the big lifts. You know what I mean? But as I've, gotten wiser, because I'm freaking getting older. I'm getting older. I'm getting wiser. I've been forced to do cable stuff when, just getting surgery. I couldn't horse massive loads, so I had to be forced to do the cable stuff. And then I realized it's like, you know what? It's a blend of both. That's where the beauty, that's where the magic is, okay? But every tool is a delicious, nutritious, very beneficial tool. And in my opinion, this is the best way to do it.
Downs will hit all 3 heads of the triceps,
Hey.
probably grow the medial and lateral heads a little better than the long head. There are 3 main ways people do this: using a rope, using a bar, and using a reverse grip. The advantage of using a rope is that you can really drive.
Thank you for being my friend.
Some people feel a harder contraction in their triceps.
Yeah, I feel a hard contraction And the tries using the rope.
It's mainly happening.
That's why I like it.
So I don't think it's adding a whole lot of real contractile benefit to the triceps. It's more of a mind-muscle connection thing. The downside of using the rope is that you just won't be able to load as much tension onto the tricep.
Does that just mean like load as much weight, right? Because he's saying you feel a good peak, feel a better contraction. And I feel like, again, for the cable stuff, that's really all that matters is the freaking mind-muscle connection, peak contraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the freaking horse tension, I would say for the big boy weight. I'm talking about the freaking, you know what I'm saying, like the skull crushers, like that kind of stuff. I would say that the cables, in my opinion, should just be the mind-muscle connection, the freaking peak freak muscle contraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy buckets do I feel that. Like, get that sucker to fire. Get that sucker to fire. Oh, okay. It's like, damn. And then he horse cock weights. You know what I'm saying? I don't think...
Experiment where I tested how many reps I could get using the rope.
Who cares?
Using the bar while keeping the weight and my technique exactly the same. I got 12 reps with the rope and 16 reps with the bar. That's 4 extra.
I don't see why that matters. Who cares? You can see that there's less stability with the rope. Less stability is going to be less strength. Like, damn, this Ricky's World Con Raspberry is kicking in. I can't freaking catch my breath. Oh! Ooh. You guys get what I'm saying, though? Like, you can see when he's using the rope, you know, it's a little wobble. He's got a wibble wobble. You know what I'm saying? Like, that alone is going to make it harder. Whereas he's got the freaking stiff girth shaft where there's no wibble wobble. Like, that alone is going to make the difference. It's like dumbbells versus a barbell, you know?
Extra reps at the same weight simply by using a bar. And that's because the rope attachment is far less rigid and stable, and so some of the tension coming from the cable stack is being lost through having to stabilize a loose rope with your forearms. And so while the rope might gain a point in the feels good department, it loses a point in the overload department. Rope press down.
B tier. How the frick is that? That's a classic. That is the classic, you know, horse bodybuilder diameter up the wazoo freaking movement, you know what I'm saying?
A lot more stable, which will direct more tension to your triceps. The cable will provide more or less even tension on the triceps throughout the range of motion.
I disagree with that.
The bar should actually help you feel more locked in, which is a good thing. So. And you can easily overload by adding a little weight.
I think it's apples and bananas. Absolutely. I don't think that. I think it's apples and bananas. I mean, this is stupid in my opinion. Not what Jeff's saying, but I think it's stupid that we're grading
from week to week. The bar press down is very close to being an S tier, but because it never actually gets the
how the frick is the bar close to being S tier, but the rope is B tier?
Other options that we'll cover in a minute. And for that reason, it's going in A tier.
He said very close to being S, but they're the same goddamn movement. You know what I'm saying? One's just rigid, stiff. The other's not. Which I think, honestly, guys, this is apples and oranges. I think whatever you feel more, you know what I mean? This is a case by case. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is Jeff's opinion. This is A tier for him. That's B tier for him. This is freaking S tier plus for Rick De La Stick. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it should be for you guys too. I think this is dumb because I think that like Johnny Pencil Necks, but don't take that the wrong way. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying like newbies for the most part. They're gonna see this list and be like, oh, Jeff said this is A tier, so I'm gonna do A tier. I'm not gonna do that because that's B tier. But like, that's a load of horse crap in my opinion. Because if I'm a noob and I feel this way more, then I'm gonna do, like, you know what I'm saying? But Jeff says I should do this, and of course I'm a noob, I'm gonna take Jeff's advice, and he's got 7 trillion followers, he must know what he's talking about. So I'm gonna do that one instead, when in fact, maybe that sucker could really, you know, freaking max cojones, balls, what am I, laser focus on feeling my tricep connection, you know what I'm saying? And it is, there's something to be said about that. I'm not going to spit journals and dates and, you know, the freaking scientists of our previous generations at you, but I think there was like a study where there was like, when they really focused on the squeeze of the muscle, they got more recruitment, you know what I'm saying? So it was more beneficial when they could like focus, like really push that, peak that contraction. So if somebody can peak that sucker better there versus there, then swap that sucker, you know what I'm saying? For me, for me, the freaking rope is higher than the straight bar. That's for sure. The straight bar for me is more of an ego. Like if I want to horse max weights and show that I am indeed the head honcho top chook of the establishment, I'm probably going to use the straight bar because I can do more weight. But if I'm actually trying to get my triceps voluptuous and dense, by the way, someone commented, they said, "You're such an idiot, you can't even make a muscle dense." Somebody commented that one time on this. I think it's these types of videos, because you know I always say, jacked, stacked, succulent, and dense. Like, you can't even make something dense. It's like, brother, my goodness. What direction is YouTube fitness going? Dense, you know what I'm saying? We're just talking about, it's like when you freaking have your Chiquita, you say, honey, squeeze these arms. And like, oh my God, those are so firm and dense. So, you know, we're talking about just freaking hard as a rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be large and hard. You know what I'm saying? Woo!
Try killing bugs the worry-free not the other way. Zevo traps use light to attract and
I know. Get YouTube red.
They work continuously.
Is that what it's called? YouTube red?
Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly.
Sorry guys, I'm already doing what I said I wouldn't do. We're 16 minutes into this video. We got one exercise covered. The wife and daughter are going to be home any minute, and they're going to ruin my video. Whew. Man, try sucking down a bulbous scoop of pre-workout while watching a Jeff Nippard science video.
The reverse grip press down is the worst of the three.
I agree. This one sucks. I used to like this as a kid, though. You know why I liked it? I think because I would use a single handle. You know what I mean? I would hold on, and I would kind of, you know what I'm saying, boom, get that sucker back. But the thing is, and it's not terrible, but the thing is you can't use a lot of weight because then you got your thumb is holding that sucker in place for the most part, which isn't, if you're using lightweight, which really you should only be using lightweight with this stuff in my opinion. It's only good for the squeeze. But you're not going to move a lot of weight, you know what I mean? Like, it'll probably feel good for the first like couple warm-up sets, like, oh yeah, I get a really good deep contraction. But if you try to bump up and it's like, oh shnikes, my thumbs are just holding me back. It doesn't feel good in the hands. You know what I'm saying? The thick bulbous shaft does not feel good in the hands.
Options, in my opinion. That's because turning your palm out won't actually change much for your triceps biomechanically.
All right, we don't care about that. He said it sucks. I agree, it sucks.
And that's probably because with an underhand grip, you can get your forearm bones out of the way at the top, but I really doubt it's worth the reduction in potential. And so the reverse grip press down is going in C tier.
C tier.
The overhead cable triceps extension is a similar movement where you're just bending and extending your elbow, except for one crucial difference. You move your arms up overhead. This actually makes a world of difference for the long head. That's because the long head is the only head that crosses both the elbow joint and the shoulder joint. So all three heads of the triceps straighten the elbow out. Only the long head has a second function. It also performs shoulder extension when you move your arm down. And that's exactly why you'll always feel your triceps working on dumbbell
Jiminy Crickets!
Medial heads aren't doing anything.
I feel like the cable one though, guys. I mean, I've tried it plenty. I feel like with the cable stack, now this is me. This is using the Rick De La Stick science, just like Jeff uses his science, which is his like opinion on what feels good. Like an overhead, it's hit or miss. Like if your gym has, some gyms have the overhead, like the seated machine with the cable where you can do the overhead, and those can feel okay. But when you're just at the free motion machine, you know, the cable station, cable stack, and you try, you know, shimmying your body. Honestly, I can horsecock so much more weight. And listen, frick, you know, I told you not to say horse. Because again, the cables don't even matter for going heavy with it. But like, I feel a better contraction for me just using the rope and, you know what I'm saying, boom, spreading those suckers. But personally for me, I don't like doing the cable like that. I don't really feel, it's not like, I know it's a big stretch, it supposedly is, but I just don't like it, fellas. And in that case, I like doing like a skull crusher, but just going, you know, behind your head. You guys get what I'm saying? Like if I'm laying flat on the bench, you know what I mean? Get that, like that sucker, that's stretch, and that feels good. And you can move a lot of weight, and it's freaking money, guys. But doing it with the cable, I'm not a big fan of. Again, if I were you, if you're watching this video and you're like, damn, Stick, like, what are we even talking about here? Let's get to the point. And I agree, this is already getting pretty drawn out. The cable, I just save the cable for, I like to warm up with, it's like I'm gonna overhead press or I'm gonna bench or something, I'll warm up with it and I'll get tons of reps and I'll get a nice juicy pump to get my elbows feeling good. You know, I'll do the same thing with the buys. Or after I press and I do dips or something, then I'll just do it as like a finisher. Juicy set of 100, giant, biggest pump of your life. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna dilly-dally on these cable machines. Guys, this pre-workout is just taking my breath away. It's crazy. Like, I'm having a hard time verbalizing my sentences. Whew. Yeah. I wouldn't dilly-dally too much on cables. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do the roll, or I'm gonna do the Jeff Nippard 8 here. I'm gonna do the straight bar push down, and now I'm gonna do the overhead. I feel like you're just, at that point, that's like the common classic gym jabroni, arms workout. It's just all cable stuff. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna do this one, then I'm gonna do this one, then I'm gonna do this one. It's like, just look at it as the icing on the cake. Do it as a warm-up and do it as the icing on the cake, in my opinion. Heavy dips, bench press, heavy, easy bar, easy curl bar, skull crushers. And I say that because some people can use the straight bar, guys. The one time I tried doing skull crushers with a straight bar, I guess it's just because my, as with age, I've become more brittle. I tried to horse cock big weights with the straight bar, and that set me back. That popped something in my freaking forearm that took like half a year. I'm still not even healed up. It's been over half a year. So by all means, when you do that, use like a Swiss bar, a neutral grip or something, or like an easy curl bar to do it. Stay away from the straight bar skull crushers.
But the long head is working very hard alongside your lats and your pecs to pull your arms down. And so because it crosses the shoulder, it'll be more contracted when your arm is down, like in a press down or in a kickback, and it'll be more stretched when your arm is up overhead. You can even try this out for yourself. Put your arm back behind your torso.
Come on, Jeff!
Get rock hard. And you can lift your arm up overhead.
Get rock
hard.
hard.
Big stretch. And that's exactly what the overhead extension is.
I'm all about, you got my attention. You said you can get rock hard.
But it's even better than that, because the cable also
Bodybuilding
provides
is
super high tension.
Bodybuilding is awesome, right? Just like the terminology. Like, let's just get thick and rock hard. You know what I'm saying?
In that stretched position. And I think that's why this 2023 study found that overhead extensions caused about 40% more triceps growth than press downs. Getting that long head into a more lengthened position
can't argue with
seems
that.
to be doing something important for muscle growth. The overhead cable extension is our first triceps exercise going in S tier.
Jeez, guys. I'm not gonna disagree with that. With the cable, I don't know, man. It's just again. I mean, but I've done them with like a French press per se, I guess, with like the curl bar, the Swiss bar, doing that. But again, I still think that the skull crusher, where you're booyah, you know what I'm saying? That's money. With the cable, I don't know. I just don't think the cable's. I don't know, but I'm freaking, stubborn. God dang stubborn, fool.
Now, if you switch the bar out for a rope, you'll still get all the benefits of training a long head in a more lengthened position, but again, the rope will limit your ability to overload the triceps to some extent. I don't actually think it'd make a huge difference over the long term, as long as you're pushing hard and you're tracking your progress. But I do...
God, those studies, though. 40% more growth? Like, I don't know, guys. Listen, you can tell my train of thoughts just, my trains of thoughts are just colliding. Locomotive collision of thought. Because there's a study that shows it's 40% more growth. I mean, that's a pretty astronomical number. I would have to imagine that's case by case, though, because I'm telling you, I feel like I can't. You're locked in, you get a good stretch. And listen, I'm saying me, I know it's not scientifical, right? Whereas I can do the freaking rope You know what I mean? And I can shimmy my body. I do that with curls and stuff too. You know, everyone's like, oh, incline curls are so cash money, like, you know what I mean? But I don't even need the incline bench. I just shimmy my hips, you know what I mean? And I'll curl like so. And as I fatigue, I just kind of bring my torso more upright, you know what I mean? And then you come here, right? You know what I'm saying? You can change the freaking peak stretch. And I do the same thing with the tris. I always start this freaking, you know, sissy squat position, basically. Boom. And you get the freaking elbows behind your body, you know what I mean? So you get that peak contraction. And then again, shimmy, shift, 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 shift. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if I'm just doing this, like, kind of just stuck here, you know? I think deep down, guys, again, as I said, every tool is a magical freaking bean. And it's just what tool that you prefer, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people might like a freaking screwdriver. Others might like to just hammer the shit to death, you know? And I guess that's what I do. I just hammer shit to death. I don't need a scalpel. Scalpel? I don't need a scaffold. Just give me a hammer, you know, and I'll freaking do one hell of a job. I just don't think the exercise selection is that key, in my opinion. As long as we're horsing serious weights and pushing the limbs to the absolute razor's edge. You feel me?
Usually still prefer the bar, and so I'll put the overhead cable extension with the rope in A tier. The katana triceps extension gets its name from how you draw a pair of Japanese katana swords across your arm.
That has to be made up, right? The katana cable triceps extension. Has anyone heard of the katana? That just seems like such a meme. Yeah, I would.
So
it seems like such a
grab
meme.
the opposite side's cable. The best way to get it to this exercise is to grab each side's cable with the same hand and then spin around.
How much weight? So say you do that. How much weight can you possibly
grab the opposite side?
He's got like this. Like, I know, and I'll tell you right now, these machines, these free motion machines are light. Like, a whole stack on this is light compared to a whole stack on a different cable thing. So like 4 on here, that's got to be like the equivalent of like 15 pounds in my opinion. And I'm just saying, like, freaking katana that sucker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to be moving the same weight as when you just grab a thick bulbous rope. You just freaking, you know what I'm saying? Is this going to be S tier? I have a feeling it will be.
The best way to get into this exercise is
I have a feeling this is S tier, isn't it?
And then spin around 100.
Because you got a tricky dicky name.
Or you can start with
and you got a max stretch. Okay, there we go.
Either way, if you start with the cables at around or just above waist height, you should end up with your arms in a position about
this is
100%
S tier for him.
relative to being flared out to the sides. This
and
is
that's
called
okay.
the scapular plane, which feels
because, like I said, it's whatever you feel the most.
Also
and
the
you
greater benefit of hitting both arms individually while still saving on time by getting both sides done at once. So that can be great for addressing any left-to-right imbalances while still not taking twice as long. These are definitely a personal favorite, and I'd probably put them in S tier, but because they require a bit more setup and kind of a learning curve,
all right, good.
And tentatively.
I knew it though. I knew that. I knew that was like a favorite of his. It's like anything that you haven't seen before is 100% S tier. These tried and true classics, those are actually C tier or B. You know what I'm saying? Those are good. I guess, like, or maybe that's more what it. Like, those are good. Like, you want pecs and stuff. The bench is good. Don't get me wrong. That's a good move. That's an A, maybe B tier. But you really want pecs, you need to do the half kneeling side cable twist. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's S+.
Yeah, drop them back to A tier. Dump.
Frank! God damn it!
Dermatologist would recommend whole body deodorant, which gives you 72-hour odor protection everywhere.
The wife and daughter are going to be home
Thomas
any
sales
minute.
at Close,
I
Tide
can't.
fabric rinse, a totally different way to clean. Just pour it in wherever you softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone. Try Tide fabric rinse. Rinse away tough odors easy.
French press will also get the long head very stretched and can be a bit faster to set up than cables. I like to
Stretch my long head.
And you'll be able to direct
Stretch it and make it rock
directly to the triceps. One slight downside compared to the cables, though, is that the dumbbell will provide a circular resistance path. Meaning you get a lot of tension on the triceps at the bottom and less tension at the top.
I feel
Not
that.
Such a bad
I feel
thing,
that.
because the stretch aspect does seem to be more important anyway. but I still prefer the more uniform feel of the cables. My main issue with the...
I mean, this is a straight horsecock movement, I'll tell you right now, because I feel like I know several people, not like personally, but I've heard of like several people like online that snapped their triceps tendon doing this, which tells you that holy buckets, that's a freaking stretch and a half. But I will say that something I liked doing in the past was I had my Swiss bar, okay, like the neutral grip bar, and I would, and that one was easy, great to set up, right? You just unrack it, just right here, boom, and you do get this big stretchers. You almost feel like you're gonna snap those suckers, but it's like there's not a huge peak freak contraction at the top, which, you know, it's the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? You can stretch it out with massive loads, right? And then you can go to the freaking katana, you know what I'm saying? No, but like the rope, get the bulbous, you know what I mean? Peak contraction. But again, I don't like to overcomplicate things. I kind of look at some of, guys, what, you know, if we could wrap this up in a nutshell, basically, I feel like you can't go wrong with, you want some freaking meaty, girthy triceps. Bench, right? And all these things with more of like a closer grip, but like dumbbell bench, for instance, you know what I mean? But any bench, weighted dips, overhead press, you know, you feel your triceps like, and people are like, it's not triceps. It's like, yeah, it's freaking cash. It's like, it's more freaking banana, wait, more birds with one stone at the end of the day. I just feel like the body is this freaking singular unit, you know what I mean? And when we can freaking horse weights with our delts and our pecs and get the big freaking triceps activation, and same thing with the freaking overhead press. Like I like to do a closer grip behind the neck press. Like I feel like my tris, I'm not gonna say I feel in the tris like doing a tri exercise per se, but you're moving these big freaking weights, boom, boom, heavy dips. Oh man, you're gonna feel those suckers. And then you can go to like a skull crusher, you know, decent rep range, and then finish it off with, you know what I'm saying? Finish it off with the cable isolation. Like you're just gonna be a horse and a half doing that. I feel like when you're picking these like singular isolation movements, it's just like, it's too many tools to do the one job, in my opinion. And then it's like when people have like an arm day and they end up doing like 10 exercises for triceps and then 10 exercises for biceps. It's like, brother, you could do like one exercise. You could do like just like skull crushers and go full ham bone on those suckers and like not even be able to freaking like, oh my God, be so sore the next day. I kind of realized that like, you know, close to, you know, with the specialization basically, you know, I was doing the same lift every day for a while. And then I realized, like, man, you don't need all this different exercise selection. You got to just find that one thing that just lights you up and just go freaking crazy with it. So instead of doing like 8 exercises in 1 hour, you can do 1 or 2 in 1 hour and like get a better workout and just get freaking deep soreness and do these movements that actually give you strength too. Whereas a lot of this stuff I feel like is good. You'll get a good, you know, contraction. You'll get a good pump. But it's a lot of dilly-dallying, in my opinion, you know?
Is that as your triceps get really strong, the dumbbells may get so big and bulky that they're kind of awkward to handle, and they can put some unwanted strain on the wrists. I still like the French press, and I still include these periodically, but I do prefer the cables, and I'm going to put these in B tier. Doing these one arm at a time actually solves a few of those issues. This way you can find a good angle to point your elbows in that feels a little more comfortable on your shoulders, and because you're doing one arm at a time, the dumbbell will be less bulky and awkward. They still don't offer the same smooth tension as cables do.
In my opinion, I mean, like, I don't know, some people, again, I think that it's like if you like it and you feel it a lot, like, then by all means do it, but like, I've tried all this kind of stuff, and it's just a waste of time to me, in all honesty. It's just a waste of time to me. It's like, I feel like for the most part, a lot of us don't have endless time in the gym. We got to get in, we got to get out. We need freaking the meat and potatoes. Like, what's the best movements? Let's do these. Like, I can see this, like, oh, I got to get my elbow warmed up. I'll do this as a warm up. Or I'll, you know, I have a little bit of time left and I don't have many tools at my disposal. I have some dumbbells. Let me try to just get like let me just burn out with these suckers. You know what I mean?
Good option, especially if you only have access to dumbbells. One arm dumbbell tricep extensions are going in A tier.
I think.
So what about skull crushers?
I don't think
let's
that's
see.
A tier,
For super
but that's
high
just my
tension,
opinion.
Triceps are
Just like
most
it's his
stretched,
opinion.
especially if you arc the bar back behind.
This
your
is
head,
S
really
tier.
starting
This should
to
absolutely be
should
S
feel
tier.
good.
This
especially
is
if
like,
it's an easy
guys,
bar,
this is the
which means that's unlocked.
quintessential triceps move. This is the quintessential triceps movement. You got the freaking stretch. You can go heavy as shit on this. You can even like force out reps by doing like a pull over, press it, do a negative, pull over, press it, do a negative. Like this is straight up S
Constant
tier.
strain on the wrists. And they're a great movement for overloading the triceps, as you can always add a little weight or a rep from week to week. And even though you don't get uniform tension on the triceps, you can fix that by starting the range of motion with your elbows slightly back rather than straight up. This will immediately pull some tension into the fibers, and from there you can arc the weight back. I think this is my favorite free weight triceps exercise, and even though some people find them a little less smooth than cables, I think they're great. I do them a lot, and yeah, I think skull crushers belong in S.
Frick! God damn. How many commercials are there?
Turn every outing into an adventure. From
There we go. Now we're talking,
Crushers are
Jeff.
exactly
Now we're
what you
freaking
get
talking.
to train each arm individually.
I don't like this one as much. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's the neutral grip versus the pronated grip. I don't know. Now I know I said neutral like a bar, but again, ideally I think the freaking, the pronated overhand grip is cash. This one's not as good to
I'm not
me.
exactly sure why, but the dumbbell skull crusher always feels a little more awkward to me than
Yeah,
the easy
I don't
bar
like it.
or straight bar skull crusher. Maybe it's because the dumbbells are free moving, and in that lying overhead
It just
position,
doesn't feel
I
the
just
same.
find them harder to
It
control.
doesn't feel the
So
same.
while on paper they
And you
should
can
also
see-
be an S tier,
Yeah.
in practice I find them a little more awkward, and for that reason I'm knocking them back to A tier. Now the JM press is an interesting one. People who like this exercise really like this exercise. I think it's a bit overrated in the strength and powerlifting space. It's really just a hybrid between a close grip bench press and a skull crusher. Or instead of lowering the bar back behind your head like in a skull crusher, or lowering the bar.
Yeah, I'm actually not a huge. I've tried them a bunch of times. Like, I agree. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I know some people, it's blasphemy! And if it works for you and you like it, it's great. And again, you can probably move boatloads of weight with it and get a good stretch, and it improves your bench. I'm sure of it, but like for me, it just doesn't feel good.
Or down to your chest, like in a
That's just my
bench.
opinion.
You meet in the middle and lower the bar down to your chin.
Me and Jeff are clicking on all cylinders.
Feel a little elbow pain, or at least a little elbow discomfort.
Where are we going with this one, Jeff? We're going B
Maybe
tier?
a point in the feels good department for me.
Where are we
Your
going?
arms won't be as far back behind your head. The JM press also won't get the long head quite as stretched
Come
as
on.
the skull crusher will. And I think if you're already doing
Grade
some bench
it.
press,
Just grade
or
it.
doing some kind of overhead extension, I'm not sure that you really need a JM press. That said, I am a fan of hitting the
Just grade it,
the
Jeff.
shoulder angles, and I do think that it's a solid lift that should have some strength carry over to your bench press. All things considered,
B tier.
I'm gonna put the
Make it B
JM
tier.
press in B tier.
Now we're clicking on all
Smith
cylinders.
machine JM press
Smith
fixes a few
machine.
of those issues for me.
Oh,
When
come
you're locked
on.
into a
Get-
fixed
this is
movement
even
pattern,
worse.
I do find it easier to really focus on.
Don't
your
make this A
triceps
tier,
movement.
brother. Come on, don't make
The
this A
barbell.
tier. I think this is even more of a waste of time.
JM presses on the
Don't
Smith
make it
machine get
A
better
tier,
personally,
brother.
and so I'm putting them in.
Frick!
Triceps kickbacks are one of the very few exercises where you get to smash the triceps with the arm held back behind the torso. This is important because remember that the long
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I just think, guys, if we're getting anything out of this video, I'm telling you right now, you get the long rope, get the long one that you can get around your body. I'm telling you, you don't need to hold it and do all this, the funny thing is I see all these people in the gym these days. I see a lot of them like doing like the Jeff, like the cable fly machine. Not the cable fly, but the pec deck. I see people doing the big stretch reverse fly on it. Like, all right, clear. You know what I'm saying? Like, so his influence is wide and array. Does that make sense? Array, yeah. So like grabbing this and doing this, like just take the rope, fellas. I'm telling you, take the rope, kick that sucker back, and I'm telling you, just shimmy your body as you start to burn out. Just the biomechanical drop set, like the biggest pump of your life.
the head of the triceps will reach peak stretch when the arms are up overhead. They'll reach peak contraction when the arms are held back behind the torso. So this far, this is the first exercise we've covered that'll get the long head into a full...
Oh yeah, and something else then too. When you got that rope, guys, check this freaking biomechanical drop set out. You kick it back, right? Boom. As you burn out, you get a little more straight. Boom. You push the bulbous heads together, the tips, two tips touching together. You know what I'm saying? You push them down. Eventually, you turn it more into like a pullover. And then, what are you doing, Taylor? What are you doing? What are you doing? He just jumped at my imaginary triceps tips. Okay? boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, get it all in there, guys. That's how I do the cables. I just go full berserk. Just every movement, just throw it all in one set.
Squeeze. Now, a lot of people do kickbacks bent forward. Think about it biomechanically. It's really the exact same thing as doing it more upright with the arm kickback. And even though there is research suggesting that the triceps respond better to long muscle lengths, it just isn't quite strong enough or robust enough for me to
Robust?
sport and biased exercise.
That is a
Plus,
Rick
the
De La
lateral
stick
medial
work, if I've ever
joints
heard
are
one.
stretched here, and the cable provides nice,
Thick,
and
long, and robust.
They feel good to me.
Vivaciously
and I prefer to
bulbous,
use the
curvaceous,
higher reps, and really
enormous.
focus on a big, strong contraction in my triceps. Cable triceps kickbacks are going in A tier. Now, if you switch to a dumbbell,
Christ, how
you
many
make that
cable single, like this is just like Johnny Pencil neck exercises that we're covering.
exercise.
Johnny Pencil neck!
For zero tension.
My name is Johnny Pencil neck!
This is great because we want to bias tension toward the stretch aspect as much as we can. And
Ah.
the kickback does the exact opposite. That said, I don't think this is quite as big of a deal as people make it
Whoa.
seem. The kickback is already better at overload.
Whoa! I don't care. Okay.
Well, kickbacks are a little overhated, in
Oi.
my opinion, but they're still not one of my go-tos. I'm going to put them in C tier.
C
Post
tier.
grip dips are another
Here we
exercise
go.
that
We
will
care
work
about the
triceps
dips.
with the arms back
We care
behind
about
torso.
the dips.
So they offer a really strong contraction with the long head, but because the arms aren't up overhead, the long head never really gets a deep stretch. Dips also don't feel the best to me. I find my shoulders get a bit cranky if I do them too much. Or too heavy.
Cranky?
I don't
They
feel
get
the control.
cranky?
No problem. The dips
My shoulders are cranky!
round exercise. It's great for progressive.
Who gives a rat's patoot if your shoulders get cranky, Jeff?
Weight belt tab.
I'll tell you what, my shoulders don't get cranky.
Post grip dip.
Dips feel incredible. You know what I'm saying? Some people are like, oh, my sternum feels like it's going to split open when I do them. You know what I mean? It's like, brother, that's on you, dude. Dips are a great exercise. Hey, Tater, what are you doing? Just licking my kneecaps.
Probably should be an A or S tier on paper, but because it doesn't feel the best
What?
to me, I find my pecs and delts can easily take over.
What?
I'm dropping it back to B.
Guys, I try to be totally objective with these videos, honestly. And at times I do feel bad because it's like, you know, he's just giving his opinion. But then he's like, ranked using science. What are you doing, Tater? Oh my God. Tater, what are you? Oh my God. He's just eating this rubber bulbous suction device. Using science, but he's like, because they don't feel good to me. Well, Jeff, I got news to you, brother. They feel good to me, right?
Tier. Bench dips work the triceps in a similar shoulder position, and I do find these take my
Guys, I'll be honest. Listen, bench dips, yeah, they suck because you can't really load it. I was thinking though of putting the power pull on with the elongated, thick shaft protruding. You know what I'm saying? And if you loaded plates on that sucker, I think that might honestly make that the perfect tool to go full ham bone with these bench dips. But I do have I have a freaking solution for the bench dips, guys. You guys know the hammer strength dip machine, right? You can do it facing forward or you can do it facing backwards. I like going facing backwards, and I like hanging off the seat, actually. There's a video of me doing it with my wife on my lap, so I didn't like it fly off the seat. But you can put like 4 plates on that sucker, and due to the angle at which the lever moves, it's essentially a bench dip. Oh, and that is just freaking bananas, right? And it's a bench dip. It's just like a bench dip machine if you utilize it that way. But yeah, I mean, bench dips they'll get those suckers pumped. And this is another movement that is a good finisher in my opinion. Like if I just wrapped up with like dumbbell bench or something and I gotta go, you know what I'm saying? I got a life, I got a wife, I got a bunch of strife, you know what I'm saying? I don't have time I wish I could be in the gym forever, I really do. So when it's like, frick, I gotta go, I gotta pick up my daughter or something, I'll just crank out like a set. I'll try to get to like 100 on the bench dips, and oh my God, you just got the rock hard long head is just engorged and hot. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, does it feel good.
pecs and delts out of the movement much better so I can connect with my triceps a little more. That said, their fatal flaw is in the progressive overload department. As you gain tricep strength, the exercise simply isn't going to be challenging enough in a normal rep range, and then you'll need to add weight. You can have a partner load some weight in your lap, but I always find this a bit awkward to balance. All things considered, I'm putting the bench dip in C tier. Machine dips are actually pretty solid. I don't do them a whole lot in my own.
Now this machine, this is that Panada. You know, I give Panada a lot of flack, but rightfully so, because look at this. This makes it so you can't do the movement I was talking about. The hammer strength one has the knee locker right there, so you can go forward, lock those knees, and go heavy, but you have your butt hang off. So Jeffrey's butt could be theoretically here if Panada didn't have this terrible design. You could scoot your arse to right here, and you could freaking, you know what I'm saying? Man.
Training, just because I like cable kickbacks better, but I might add these back in for my next training phase. They're really just a
If this is higher than the actual dip,
except
I'm gonna lose my freaking jimmies. You know what I'm
which
saying?
might help you connect with your triceps.
If
better.
this is rated higher than actual dips, I will lose my
I'm gonna
jimmies.
leave the machine dip in B tier.
Okay.
Okay, the close grip bench press. Similar to the dip, its
Oy.
main selling feature is its incredible capacity for progressive overload. As your triceps get stronger, you'll be able to gradually add a little weight each week and keep your triceps growing for years to come. The bar will provide consistent tension throughout the range of motion, and to me, a close grip bench press feels great.
I will
find
say-
I can engage my triceps a lot better here than on dips. That said,
You better
there's
make
a
this
slight
A
problem with
tier,
the long
you know what I'm
head.
saying?
While presses will
But
still
honestly, this
be
should be
lateral
S tier.
heads
It should be. This is the
long
classic
head
movement,
actually
you
doesn't
know?
get hit all that hard. That's because
But you can
it's
just, the way you can
lengthening
load
that
this
shoulder
sucker
joint
up.
while
You guys, let me tell you
simultaneously
something. You know what should be on here theoretically? It should be a close grip decline. You know what I'm saying? That should be on here. And they would say, well, but their stretch is not up the wazoo. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it takes like your shoulders out of it more. Like you can go so freaking heavy. I've done like 535 pounds on a decline, and I'll tell you what, like it feels like it's freaking all tries. That decline bench should be on here.
the elbow joint. So while I really want to put the close grip bench press in S tier because it is such a great overloading movement, I have to drop it back to A tier just because I don't think that the long head will.
The long, he is obsessed with the long head.
The main issue with the push-up is that beyond the beginner stage, it's just really hard to overload them without doing a ton of reps.
That is not true, Jeff. Guys, I have the solution. I have the freaking solution. I used to think the same thing. I was like, damn, push-ups are so great. I just wish you could load them. And I bought the freaking Konsui loaded vest where you can put the plates on. But then I was like, wait a second. When I had a friend over, we loaded those suckers up to like 300 pounds strapped on us. And it was intense, okay? Like intense. But then I was like, I'm going to do push-ups on my own with the vest again. But I was like, how the frick do I get the weights on my back? And then it's like you can pick it up, strap it on, but you can only do that with like one plate. So the vest was like not a good solution for me. I was ticked off because I spent freaking cash ducats on it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, God, there's just no way to load this sucker, really. Guys, if you are in a power rack at the gym, usually at the gym they're bolted down too. You can put the safeties super low, basically where you have to crawl, you have to slide under on the floor on the rack, and then you have resistance bands. I like 6-tuple resistance band above me, and that was freaking great. And then you could obviously put your hands on like a deficit then too, to get more tension from the bands. Or I liked it because it was almost like from the beginning there was no tension, so it was like you explode, try to push through the 6-tuple bandage resistance. So it's like try to explode through 200 pounds of bands. And when you're at the top, it tries to push you down. It's like de-accelerate. Like it's freaking, that is a thing that's a staple. Gonna be in my gym training, it's a staple. Because all you need is resistance bands, guys. Now, when I go to the gym, I just carry a big sack of bands, okay? Because you can use them for everything. Just spice. You know, someone messaged me like, I'm just getting into the training. I'm 1 month in, I'm making all this progress. Like, give me some advice to be motivated. I'm like, brother, dude, let me tell you something. You are 1 month in, you're making all these newbie gains, and that's sick. But eventually, you're gonna plateau with the basic stuff you're doing, and that's okay, because you can look forward to, once you get your freaking gym IQ gets through the freaking roof, now you got the bands, you can band everything up, you can hang stuff like the chaos effect to make the lack of stability. Like there's so many cool tricks you can do to spice up the training and just keep it so freaking spicy, you know?
Weight on your back, which can be a pain. I'm putting these in
C tier?
diamond push-ups
Give me a
to make the movement
freaking
considerably
break.
harder by them without doing a ton of
I gotta
reps
see,
or
let's
having a
look at
partner
this.
load
Come
weight
on.
on your back, which can be a pain. I'm putting these in C tier. Done.
Frick!
Them without doing a ton of reps or
Hey,
having
Tater!
a partner load weight on your back, which can be a
No.
pain. I'm putting these in C tier.
Okay, he put the freaking push-ups in C tier. But can we look at something? He's got the C tier. He's got the freaking cable kickback, the one arm freaking French press, the katana press or whatever the frick, and he's got push-ups in C tier. Dude, I mean, what about just elevating your feet and doing all those tricks to make it more tension? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, brother. This is doing, guys. I don't like to come across of like being a negative Nancy. I really don't. Trust me. I don't. I want to agree. Like when he put certain movements in like the S tier, it's like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yes, now we're freaking talking. But like when the bench dip is C tier too, like isn't one of the factors like how easy it is to do basically? Like you can do this shit anywhere. You can do this anywhere. You can do this. Like you can do these freaking bench dips. Listen, you don't need a bench to do them. You can see a freaking piece of wood on the ground and do them. You know what I mean? You can go to your stairs and do them. You know, you can literally do it on a chair. You can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere. Like these are just. Whereas like where the frick can you do the katana extension? You know?
Diamond push-ups make the movement considerably harder than narrowing the base of support, and most people can feel their triceps working harder with the more flared elbow position that it puts you in. I actually really like diamond push-ups as a finisher exercise at the end of a workout, where you can just go for as many reps as you can get. They're actually a lot harder than they look, and even though they're still not as good as a close grip bench press for progressive overload, I think they're just good enough to get into. Second, you should definitely do some triceps isolation.
All right, here we go.
Will grow your triceps, but probably won't be enough to close
Sorry,
grip bench
fellas.
press for progressive overload. I think they're just good enough to get into. First, pressing exercises will grow your triceps, but probably won't be enough on their own to maximize triceps development, especially not the long head. Second, you should definitely do some triceps isolation work for maximum growth.
Agreed.
The most effective isolation exercise is one that trains the triceps with the arms overhead. This is so the long head can experience high tension.
But remember, like, yes, if that's where we're freaking comparing apples to apples, okay? But like I said, like the most effective, whatever, theoretically, if you're putting, you know, the same effort into this, but I'm telling you guys right now, like if I'm doing this, I'm gonna put like 5,000% more effort into doing this, you know what I'm saying? Than doing like this, because this, you know what I mean? Like, just trust me, fellas, please. Also, skull crushers. That's money. You know what I mean? I would do, you could do incline bench skull crusher too, right? Money. I wouldn't look at this as like the most effective. I would not. Please take my advice. Please trust me on this.
In a deep stretch. Fourth, for proportional triceps development, you should hit them from a variety of different shoulder angles, including at least one movement with the arms up overhead.
You know, I'm kind of like of two minds, because like it's like, oh, the long head, yada yada. You gotta train the long head in order to do the long head. I gotta be. It's like, but guys. Can you really like isolate heads that, you know what I'm saying? Like I know theoretically some movements will hit them harder than others, but like I just feel like if you get strong dips, if you get strong bench and you just go full freaking bananas on stuff, like your triceps are gonna develop like evenly and they're gonna be freaking rock hard as a diamond, chiseled and striated. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you need to like, oh man, my arms are lacking long head. Oh, I know, it's because I'm not throwing in the cable, the katana extensions, you know? Like, oh, I gotta hit. I just don't think that that's, like, in a perfect world, sure, okay? But I think, again, it comes down to horsing, max tonnage, and then just feeling that good squeeze and contraction, going for the biggest, freakish, volumized, just engorged pump possible after you do that horse cocking, you know?
And one with the arms either down at the sides, like in a push down, and or one movement with the arm held back behind the torso, like a cable kickback. Now, if I had to crown just one exercise as the best of the best, it'd have to be the overhead cable tricep extension. This exercise will grow all three heads very effectively.
That's what I'm saying, brother. I told you that was going to be the case.
If I had to crown just one exercise as the best of the best,
Absolutely not. Okay? That is the best of the best. All right? I'm telling you right now. From someone that goes full ham bone as often as he can, tries as hard as he can, I'm telling you, that is so much better than that. Okay? I'll do this and have the deepest, especially you can do it on a decline too. You can do it on a decline, you can do it on an incline, you can do it on a flat bench, like just for the different angles on. This is so much better than the cable. Please take my word on that.
Have to be the overhead cable tricep extension. This exercise will rope.
I want to get so much flack in the, but they're not using any logical thought and reason. Right? People get so angry at these videos.
All three heads very effectively, and it's actually been validated as a superior exercise in long-term hypertrophy studies. And if I had to pick one as the worst of the worst, I guess it'd have to be the dumbbell kickback. It's not that it never has its place, but I do think there are better options. And you may have noticed that there were no F-tier exercises in this video, but there definitely were in my back tier list video, so to make sure that you don't put them in your program.
Thank you for being a friend! Yeah!
Guys, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already.
I enjoyed it, Jeff. I enjoyed the video. I will give you a thumbs up. Let's freaking do it, man. No negativity in this world. Booyah. There we go. Oh, frick. Never mind. I can't. I got to sign in.
And I'll see you guys
Never mind.
in the next one.
All right. Well, there's going to play another ad, but not this time, Jeff. You will not get any more ad revenue from Rick De La Stick.